everybody. Welcome back to Language, Litigation, and Integration, Part 124, Blue Lives Scatter. So today we'll be reviewing some updates of Uvalde, Texas. Is that Uvalde? Uvalde? Could easily be a Spanish word. But we'll just say Uvalde, Texas. That's what everyone seems to be saying, so it sounds right. We'll talk about the coverage and news. Again, just absolute embarrassment. Credit to some random Redditor. I don't even have your username written down, but this is not my zinger, but Blue Lives Scatter. That was a good one, so that's the title of this episode. Talk about some other legal talking points in court cam. There's a case I wanted to cover that I saw on there. And we'll be reviewing my lawsuit dismissal if there's time. And if there's not time, we'll certainly be reviewing that in a recent, or in an upcoming episode. Because I just recently read this, and again, I graded this stuff as it happened, but again, we'll be covering again how human beings don't know how to behave because they're pathetic as fuck. Which again, if we are not all on the same page after again slaughtering children, and we'll go through the data and all of the news that has come out about this shithole. What more could be demonstrate that people don't do their jobs? People are incompetent. People form groups, and people are pathetic and insecure as fuck. Therefore, they won't do anything. They're petrified. They won't move. They're scared. So, just going through some of the updates on the data. Again, this has been, I haven't uploaded in probably 2 or 3 days, so this is all written down as it's coming out. I have, quote, cops didn't engage correctly at Uvalde shooting, ... Is this true? Yeah, that's an understatement. So they said it was then it says a 40-minute event, and now as of today, May 28th, 2022, it seems to be over an hour before the first 911 calls and the death of the active shooter. So it was over a 60-minute event. Cops did not rush in. There was not a armed security guard or response officer on site at all. They did not engage the shooter at all. He rushed to somebody who he thought was the shooter as the guy was behind a car. I don't really fault somebody for that, for again identifying the right person. I mean that's just I don't see that as a huge error. Simply like people saying he drove really fast past the shooter, like as he's supposed to magically know who's the fucking shooter. But so I don't see that as a big error, but everything else is fucking the most atrocious shit ever. But a Border Patrol agent had to break protocol to stop the attack, and similar to Parkland, Florida. Don't even remember the Parkland, Florida one, but I guess again just cops being afraid to do their jobs, literally demonstrably on camera. I think that was the same with like the Vibe or the Pulse nightclub shooting, and same with, I just saw the clip on Reddit of the Las Vegas shooting. So like again, like how many shootings, like again, it's just, what the fuck is this shithole? This is a shithole. But I said in the last one he might not have had an AR-15, but he did have an AR-15, maybe 2, ? Not just a handgun, had self-harm past. He was cutting his face in front of his friends, goes up and says to his friends, you know, I was scratched by a cat, now I was cutting my face over and over again because I liked it. You know, that's kind of a red flag. He was bullied for a lisp, don't give a fuck at all, learn to speak. He was shooting at random people with a BB gun. Even more so than self-harm. Again, self-harm's pathetic as fuck. And again, even like bragging to your friends is more, again, using violence to seek attention. Shooting BB guns at random people, that's definitely a serious indication of violence. Shooting BB guns, which can't hurt you, which can't put your eyes out, which can't stick in your body. So yeah, it's again, still shooting at people with a gun. So that's kind of a slight indication. But I have 18, we'll just go with the data first before the analysis. He had private messages about shooting his grandma in Facebook. Again, he messaged some girl like, I'm going to do a shooting, I'm going to shoot my grandma, I just shot my grandma, and then I'm going to go shoot up an elementary school. And that was a couple hours before. And so again, I don't know if the person saw the messages, but if they saw the messages and there was even the slightest hint of indication that it was real, you should absolutely report them. Again, not that the cops would do anything. They don't do their jobs. They won't believe you. Again, like Sergeant Bill Kosiski that we've referenced many times in this. I call the cops. Again, I'm not comparing myself to children getting slaughtered, but again, not legalizing cannabis literally slaughters people at the tune of 4.2 million fucking Americans a year, let alone over the globe. And so it's like, yeah, I again, every single fucking day for the past 6 years, I've tried to report crime, and the cops literally don't do anything. And they will actively restrain me from doing anything to receive my property and leave. Active harassment and torture. So again, if people don't believe that, Sergeant Bill Kosiski don't believe that, you just watch your brethren of your profession not allow parents to rush in while police were arresting them and restraining them themselves, after the police rushed in and got their own kids, and then they were too afraid to get shot. And again, this is when that quote, "It's better to be a warrior in the garden than or whatever, a warrior in the garden," or again, all good guys be able to be prepared for shit. It's like children getting slaughtered. Like I don't know, there is not a bigger stimulus to say, fuck it, let's do something now, which the parents were trying to do. But again, they shouldn't have to. That's what the cops should fucking do. Again, the SWAT team, we had their picture, they're all standing there, finger off the trigger with their big old Texas hats. Pussies. Fucking cowardice fucking pussies. An 18-year-old fucking untrained piece of shit with a gun versus like 20 armed fucking officers. Is that like, what the fuck is that? It's pussies. It's cowardice. It's pathetic in a group set. It's once again, shit hits the fan, what are we gonna do? Oh, well, I'm scared. Oh, well, I'm scared too, so we're not gonna do it as a group. Police officers, as children are getting slaughtered, young children are getting slaughtered. So, what else did we have for just the data? We had Governor Abbott admitting being misled. Again, what are we going to do? We're going to default to narratives. Oh, thank you for the cops for their immediate and prompt response. The cops, we did our job, we did this. Oh, Governor Abbott, oh, yeah, Republican, yeah. Thank you, law enforcement, for doing your job. Yep, thank you, that's what I'm going to say. Oh, then the facts come out, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, the facts fucking come out, and then you're stuck in fucking shit. And again, how many times have we done this here in American history with our cell phones and it's all recorded and we're lying about everything of any meaning, of any fucking value, of any scientific discourse, of anything that matters to humanity. All of it, we are lying. Do cops do their jobs? No. Blue lives scatter. But I watched, the Beto O'Rourke, I was just watching on CNN, like the former police chief of Boston saying, he was talking about the hierarchical structure of reporting a crime, right? When I report a crime, like I've talked about you, I would try to live call the FBI on one of these episodes, but it's boring as fuck. You literally get a teleprompting response. If they don't think it's an active crime, they just don't care. Sergeant Bill Kosiski, I don't believe you when I'm calling MSRI, screaming at them to do their fucking jobs, as I email the director, David Eisenbud, for the past 5 years, every fucking day, with easily 100 fucking theorems a day. Easily. On record, ask around. And he says, and the first guy, what was that fucking guy's name? Oh, Leroy Jenkins, or Leroy Harris. Not Jenkins. That was a reference to, like, World of Warcraft video that went viral, like, 12 years ago. And he was like, he told me he was going to contact David Eisenbud, and I'm in direct contact with David Eisenbud every fucking day. But no, screeching bald eagles, the world is as it should be. The kids are happy. No, they're getting slaughtered. And so he tells me he's going to look into my mathematical proof that it's literally fucking a math subject. It's the foundation of scientific proving of all knowledge. And he's going to look into that as I email the fucking director who's acknowledged me for 5 straight fucking years. And then the next guy doesn't. And he says, Sergeant Bill Kosiski says, we don't believe you. It's like, yeah, well, look at your profession, man. TikTok. But anything else? But Governor Abbott thanks the law enforcement officers for intervening immediately, obviously just defaulting to narrative, but the hierarchy structure of reporting a crime. You call in, they have a call center, and then that call center goes to a dispatcher, and that dispatcher content tells the field people. And the former Boston chief was talking about how there's no reason you can't directly talk to the field officers. Yeah, no fucking shit. You have cell phones. You just fucking call them. But here, we're the gatekeepers of crime as law enforcement officers, and we're all incompetent as fuck. We all failed at life so profoundly that we still wanted to feel like we have values, and nobody in this species has values, as a proven empirical biological fact, so we're going to pick up a gun and serve our nation. Protect and serve. Uh-oh, The Supreme Court has ruled the police have no duty to protect. Again, this is when the formality of legal doctrine just goes out the fucking window. Of course, you have a fucking duty to fucking protect. What the fuck is law enforcement supposed to be? Law enforcement. Enforce the law. Seems pretty straightforward to me. So yes, you absolutely have a duty to protect. Throw whatever, the Supreme Court's a bunch of goofs with a fucking robe on. Fuck them. They're incompetent. Objection, Your Honor, you're all fucking incompetent, stupid idiots, and provably will default to narrative. Provably. That is what everybody is doing. I just write it down every day. So, Beto O'Rourke interrupts the public address from Governor Abbott. You are doing nothing, is what he said. And I have what is gubernatorial, just as a legal point. I don't even know what that word means. We'll Google it real quick. What do I think about interrupting a speech for political gain? Again, I just go off of absolute proven facts. So, for sure, proven gain. I think I don't know who Beto O'Rourke is. They think he's like the failed Republican candidate. Gubernatorial, relating to a state governor or the office of state governor. So gubernatorial election is the governor. Okay, so we don't need the word gubernatorial. Jesus. But let's just say it was for political gain. I don't know. We don't have. There's no rules. There's no laws. There's no decency. There's no competence. There's no ability to give a fuck. There's no humanity. There's a bunch of pathetic fucks that compete over nothing. How many of you people say, I'm a pretty competitive person? Oh, shit hits the fan. Oh, I'm scared. So, I don't know. Fuck Beto O'Rourke. I don't know. But you are doing nothing. Again, I have no respect for any fucking person in politics or law enforcement or major business owners or any of the public reporters or the local reporters or anybody. Nobody does their fucking job and nobody feels responsibility for anything. Nobody. Literally nobody. So, again, cops getting their own kids out is just fucking the most pathetic, disgusting, selfish shit ever. There should absolutely be legal consequences for all of this. Like, literally 100% of all of this. So, if there aren't rules for this, this is the most pathetic and profound dumb shit ever. And the Supreme Court has ruled police have no duty to protect. Throw that shit out. Nobody cares what goofs and rogues thinks. The pros and cons of shooters' photos, names, and videos of crime, specifically violent crime, being withheld. What do I think? No, again, certainly for not literally any level of, again, not suitable for work tag is plenty fine on Reddit or just anywhere. But if you're an adult and you can go to war, you should be able to see the results of war. Not only should you be able to see the results of war, you should be forced to see the results of war. Any journalist, anybody of any fucking maturity should be able to see all of it. Because it's documenting human behavior. And how do we facilitate dumb shit, violent behavior, and pathetic shit longer? We censor it. We restrict it from people seeing it. So you should absolutely be able to see all of the videos, all of the pictures, all of the dead bodies, all of the brains blown the fuck out, because that's what the reality of it is. A selfish animal says, I'm going to fucking cause harm, here's what I'm going to do, and then they do it. And so it needs to be for educational purposes. Now on the other side, withholding like names, because again, I do think there's a viral sensation to it. Again, one-upping each other, and again, not publishing my paper, no amount of speaking at any level from anybody is going to change the overall sentiment of the species. The species has to change. The overall natural behavior of every single fucking individual has to change. So, restricting names, again, not glorifying it, again, having some, not restrictions, but having the information available, certainly for educational purposes, but withholding the names, I would just say any active form is glorifying it. Like if you're law enforcement and you have some 4chan thread or some backdoor website, wherever, and they're actively glorifying it or talking about it or fantasizing about it, I would shut that shit down, obviously. I think you do that. But do I think withholding the names really stops the viral sensation of one-upping each other? I doubt it, because anyone who's like planning some shit like that is going to go out of their way to find stuff like that, find forums, share manifestos, shit like that. So I see that as pretty neutral, withholding the names. But I would shut down any active like chat room glorifying shit like that. How about any preventative measures and any more thoughts on gun laws? teachers with guns, anyone with training you should have somebody, like 1, 2, 3 people in the building certainly. And again, like the pathetic Reddit reaction was like, oh, they're so underworked and overstressed, now they need a gun. It's like nobody's overworked, nobody's over fucking stressed. If you want to get paid more, go do something else. But everyone should be prepared to deal with bullshit. We are animals on a rock, if it's not fucking apparent yet. And so, yeah, I think trained officers or trained teachers, absolutely. Security guards at buildings, absolutely. Not propping open the back fucking door, absolutely. No shortcuts in terms of the teacher's protocols. It might be quicker to run out to your fucking car, but then some 18-year-old's gonna come blow away 4th graders. Maybe you can check back in the front office. Other equipment like barricades, certainly I think, like bulletproof doors. I love talking. What are we planning for school? We're gonna do math or science? No, we're gonna go with Kevlar vests. And Joe Biden's montage of deers aren't wearing Kevlar vests was actually rather interesting. So that on Ben Shapiro's show. But that's like the dad joke equivalent of a presidential zinger of a dad joke. It's like, he said that and you can tell like people in his cabinet like, oh, that was a good one. And he just keeps reusing it because he's like fucking demented. He has dementia. So, good job, President Joe. But barricades, bulletproof doors, some sort of, again, locking mechanism so they can't enter the door. That would seem to be very practical without a big production cost. Because if they're in the building, they can't get into any people. But then if they're switching classes, that would take 5 minutes to see when they switch class schedules. So then they're all in the hallways, so. But I do think doors, door locks, barricades, sure. School security, yes. Certainly at least some people trained around. And then obviously legal punishment for every single person involved in Uvalde. This is atrocious. Absolutely fucking atrocious. And throw out the Supreme Court bullshit. That's all done. Anything else for the Uvalde? I don't think so specifically. So now we'll do other legal talking points, court cam episode, and a slight reaction to a Patrick Bet David podcast number 158. Couple more thoughts on gun control. Again, just going off the top of my head for stuff like this, it's better just to see other people's suggestions and say, does this make sense or does this not make sense? So again, using the AR, obviously, but again, if people want to get switches, if they want to go full auto, they're going to be able to fucking, again, the people that are on the black market, if people have demand, it's going to be a black market. It's true. There's going to be a market for guns. So, I don't know, like in magazine capacities, no bump stocks, no switches. Again, maybe like having, if this, I think that the Uvalde dude had 1,600 rounds of ammunition, like purchase limits of capacity rounds, like maybe that sets off a red flag for fuck's sake. But again, what's the practical need for a weapon? Defense or for hunting? And so, again, I'm not a strict constitutionalist, and again, it's the political, everyone defaults to narratives, every single fucking person. Greg Abbott defaults, the police chief, whoever's in charge of the situation defaults, all of the reactions default to narratives. And so what's Congress going to do? They're going to default to narratives, right? Ted Cruz just says, what stops a bad guy with a gun? Good guys with guns. Yes, but it's all oversimplification. That's what defaulting to narrative is. They need to be trained, they need to be proper, and we still need to have correct laws. The Second Amendment doesn't fucking matter. We need a fucking society that functions. Slaughtering children is not functioning. And so that fucking, again, that Trump voter with a 3,000 square foot Trump flag and a 700 square foot home is going to default to narrative because he's a literate fucking idiot. And so, the need for a gun is self-defense and for hunting. And so, like, what do you need? Do you need 5 guns? Not really. Am I opposed to people having 5 guns? No. But like, what's and again, in a country where there's, I don't know, 3 times the amount of firearms as people or something. And so, I would say like purchase limits, like maybe you can have more rounds at a gun range, but you don't need that much firepower for defense even. It's not like you're gonna go to war. Someone's breaking in your house. The reality is either they're gonna fucking kill you, you're dead in 5 shots, or you're gonna shoot them, maybe you miss the first 1 magazine. 24 shots, 100 shots, 1,600 rounds. Like, what is the actual practical need for that? Nothing. And again, fully 4 guns would own a gun, would blow people away that were fucking threatening in 2 seconds. There's just no practical need. Again, Ohio, I don't, because I smoke cannabis because, yeah, eat or sleep or defend yourself. Stand your ground unless you need to eat and sleep at night, so, because again, we don't actually enforce the laws. We don't actually enforce the fucking laws. So maybe more rounds at or maybe you can have higher capacity at a gun range or something. But there's no practical need for just no end to gun ownership and rounds of ammunition and firepower, and then say the Second Amendment. It's not legally true, it's not biologically true, it's not historically true. It's defaulting to narrative of stupid idiots that don't know how to behave. So that was kind of the last thoughts on gun control. And again, I don't, but yeah, let's just say limit of capacity. Yeah. But okay, so Kevin Spacey was charged with 4 counts of sexual assault against 3 men. With all the violence, we can't forget the sexual assault. It's still violence. If we're not pulling our wieners out, Elon Musk, we're just sexually assaulting dudes. Kevin Spacey, good job, man. So I watched a court cam episode. Again, another example of behavior defaulting to narrative. A guy named Mr. Sanders, Jonathan Sander of North Carolina, was found guilty on all charges and sentenced with life with no parole. Not sure the date on this one. Again, this is off court cam. His name was Jonathan Sander, North Carolina. So this dude kills 3 people. He admits it. Not exactly sure the relationship to one another. I think they're like old business partners. Then pleads not guilty and blames the father of the victim that he killed. I think it was like a female that his business partner was with. But I don't think it was lovers. I just think it doesn't really matter. Not for the teaching point of this. But the point is in his immediate police interview, he admits it. He literally says something to the effect of, whatever happened there, I know it was me. I know it was I that did that. And you can see him trying to, again, realize that he just blew people's brains all over the fucking floor. And so he admits it to it. And so should you ever be allowed to, again, empirically, biologically, demonstrably confessing, right? Saying what you have done, and then pleading not guilty. No. Again, this is clear expression of correct intention, of correct facts. So if you admit to something like that, you should not be able to then plead not guilty when it's demonstrably, viscerally true. And then I said, how do you have a trial with a confession and no potential duress? Meaning she's not lying, he's not under duress, there's no ulterior motive, someone pressuring him, someone intimidating him, saying he's going to kill him if he doesn't lie about it. And again, at least not in this case. Again, a confession with no duress should not be able to then enter a not guilty plea. Should not be possible. But again, it's the sense of Mr. Sanders, Jonathan Sander. He's that baby boomer that's never been challenged before, and he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's all flustered, he's all mad, and what's he gonna do? Well, he's gonna show him, and then he kills him, and then he admits it, and then he's like trying to do the right thing by admitting it, and then he defaults to self-defense, defending his livelihood for the future. Not murdering people is not self-defense, but you get what I'm saying. And so you see this behavior of someone who has no idea what violence does, commits violence, admits to it, and then tries to defend himself, and then does so resolutely. He gets found guilty on all charges. He's sentenced to life with no parole. The jury wasn't buying his bullshit at all. And then he proudly stands up there and says, her father did it for the insurance money. Again, this is the beta male fucking behavior. You do something for the group that you think you don't even know why you're behaving this way. You do something fucking weird. You defend yourself, and then you resolutely blame somebody else, and you think you're like saving your soul. You're helping, you're protecting yourself, and you're just stagnating the species. That is what you're doing. So fuck Jonathan Sander, but he's doubling down on self-preservation with projection. No, he did it after, again, admitting he did it in the most viscerally true way possible, and then saying, nope, I still gotta live the rest of my life, so I'm gonna try to salvage my self-dignity after I blew away through people because I was flustered over a business deal. It was her father. Yep, it was that guy. So just a couple thoughts on PBD number 158. Should a guidance counselor call a 16-year-old's parents about sexual conversations? What are my thoughts on parenting? Again, I know one guidance counselor, again, my old friend Brennan. Would I trust him with anything? No. 0% chance. But guidance counselors are typically fucking failures at life. Go get offended, it's true. I don't know. Do they have, I mean, this episode's pretty long. We're not gonna we'll go over my dismissal later. But again, we're all just documenting human behavior that's pathetic as fuck. But just, people should always have someone they should be able to talk to about anything. A 16-year-old specifically, as opposed to, like, they were talking 16 as opposed to, like, 10-year-olds. And 16 is plenty in the age range of active sexual, I mean, puberty's 12 to 14, maybe a little bit earlier for some people. But 16 is certainly in the age for sexual conversations. But, again, Patrick Bet-David's like, I would want to know. I did so much freedom. I earned it. I'm so sensitive about my businesses. I'm so sensitive. See how you project your actual feelings, Patrick Bet-David? You're sensitive. I'm not sensitive about my life. I'm not sensitive about anything. And so again, people don't know how to behave. They get a little bit of money. And then, yeah, of course I want to know if my kid's a faggot. Don't say faggot, kid. You can't be the gay. You can't be sucking all the wieners. But a 16-year-old is plenty fine age for sexual conversations. Should a guidance counselor, if the 16-year-old has no other person to talk to than the guidance counselor, no. I would say no. If the 16-year-old does have someone else to talk to, still say no. I don't know why I don't think the guidance counselor should be someone's, again, I don't have much credence for the role of a guidance counselor, but if it's a trusted individual to the 16-year-old that they actually trust, respect, then yeah, again, it takes a community to raise a child. There's no special sauce about being a fucking parent. Sure, you know them longer, but human behavior is consistent. People say the same shit for the same experiences. So it's not like this grandiose thoughts of parenting is overblown. And certainly coming from Patrick Bet-David, he just feels oozing after he randles off. I'm sensitive about my business. And quote, nobody cares more about the kid than the parent, Patrick Bet-David. That's what insecure, sensitive people tell themselves with narrative. Because again, we're all individuals. Everyone cares about themselves profoundly more than anybody else. It's just true. And if you don't, you're going to behave that way and do it anyway, as we've covered for like 10,000 different fucking contexts. So nobody cares more about the kid than the parent. False. That's what insecure, sensitive people about their businesses tell themselves, because they're the beta male that's going to lead the group to the watering hole, and they don't know the directions. And then they go off astray, and you're like, well, somebody had to take the lead, and you're like, yeah, but there was a map right here, we can just follow the map. No, we're in my way or the highway. That is what is happening here. And then Sandy Hook victims' families settled for $72 million with the gun manufacturer. Should you be able to sue the gun manufacturer? No. That's 3 steps removed from legal. You know, you could have Congress passing more meaningful laws. You can have more education, more just grassroots friends, connections, reporting bullshit. Suing gun manufacturers, no, I would not. I mean, that's I don't want to say it's a financial grab, because obviously there's loss, obviously there's mourning, but the gun manufacturer, no, I would sue the Congress people. You can't sell cannabis in this fucking country, but we're gonna sue gun manufacturers. Why don't we sue the fucking people that fucking don't make laws that are consistent with fucking human behavior, as it's proven on the internet? So I've stopped that conversation about 53:05, and so this will be a plenty long episode, well over 30 minutes at least. And so, and after all of this data comes out, it's just absolutely fucking pathetic. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. Human behaviors have failed. Again, it's disgusting. Though you only say those same words so many times, people actually have to change, and they don't because they're pathetic, and then they're insulated, and they don't have to change. Does it affect their ability to reproduce? No. Does it affect their ability to not die? No. They don't have to think? No. So, We're just going to sit there and rot in there until we're all dead. So thank you for watching Language, Litigation, and Integration Part 124, Blue Lives Scatter. See you next time.